Shalom and welcome, family. I want to welcome everybody to today's very brief discussion brought to you by the Universal Temple of Israel, which is the Universal Temple of Yahweh. My name is Adiel, and before we begin, let us give honor, glory, and thanks to our Heavenly Father, Yuhewape Yahweh, by reciting the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew in unison. Tefillah. Abinu Shiva Shemayim, Yikade Shemeaka. Tabu Makateaka, Yazerizonka. Kiba Shemayim Kema Aretz, Elekem Kukenu, Tain Lanu Hayom. Uslak Lanu, All Katienu, Kiyoshisokin, Gamanaknu, Lykotem Lanu, Beal Tefienu, Ladeni Sayon. King Asenu, Minhara, Kilaka, Abamlaha, Bea Gibara, Bea Tifiereth, Leolame, Olamin, Sila. So once again, family, I welcome you all. As you know, we have completed our first week of the solar calendar, and we are preparing to go into the high holiday season of Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread. And so in doing that, I wanted to help prepare the family one last time before we do so. All right, so just so we all understand, according to the solar calendar, based on the solar year and the start of the solar spring, the 14th day of the first month will be occurring on sundown April 1st. So this is when Passover will occur. And it will occur for 24 hours until the next sundown, in which the Feast of Unleavened Bread will occur. So what is important? Well, by the second night, which is April 2nd at sundown, we have to make sure that all yeast is out of our households. Now, traditionally, we've always made sure to remove all the yeast before Passover even gets here. The reason why is once we have our Passover meal, we don't really like to try to cross contaminate the old lump, the leavening that we're removing out from the previous year, with the new lump that's coming in. We don't like to, risk cross contaminating. This is a spiritual thing as well. So we remove that before the first day even comes. But technically speaking, it needs to be gone by the first night of Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is again sundown April 2nd. Okay? And for 7 days, we are to eat unleavened bread. That means every day you must eat some unleavened bread. Every 24-hour periods, some unleavened bread. And for those of you who are in the crowd who do not know what unleavened bread is, it is simply bread that is made without the leavening agents, okay? Because remember, leavening agents are not supposed to be in our dwelling places, in our households, right? And leavening agents, like I said in the last video, consist of your typical yeast, right? That's live active yeast. That does not include yeast extract. If you would like to, out of an abundance of caution, include that in your list of things to remove, then you are free to do it. It cannot hurt. Okay? It also includes baking powder. It's usually those little round metallic cans with the red labels that we have up in our cabinet we forget about. Yeah, don't forget about those. Go up and look for them. Okay? Also, look for any seasoning, gravy packets, those sorts of things. Snacks, certain types of chips that may have yeast in them, leavening agents in them. Certain cereals may have leavening agents in them. It also includes baking soda. You know those boxes that our grandmothers used to stick in refrigerators and under cabinets in order to keep odors down? That is actually a leavening agent. You must be certain to remove those from your households as well. Okay? And there are even certain sodas that actually have leavening agents in them as well. So we must be diligent in searching our households and our dwelling places for all these things. All right? So, what is unleavened bread? Unleavened bread is essentially bread that is made without any of these aforementioned leavening agents. Okay? It basically consists of whole wheat flour. It is important to use whole wheat flour. There's a spiritual component to all these things. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit. Um, we must use whole wheat flour. We must use salt, water, of course, and then we have some type of agent like butter that goes into it. But specifically, we use clarified butter. There is a spiritual process there too. As you're making the unleavened bread, preparing for the unleavened bread, you must understand to seek out the spiritual teaching in the process of making it. It helps to prepare you for the High Holy Day. Understand that we use whole wheat flour and not your typical um, wheat flour, right? They just call it wheat flour, but it's degerminated flour. And we do this because we include the bread that has the life in it. And degerminated flour does not, it is dead, right? We start with life. Everything starts with life. Spring starts everything starts growing back. It is literally the greening season when life bursts back into action. So it is only fair that we use wheat flour that still has the life in it, right? Our year begins when life begins. The secular year begins in the middle of the winter, begins in the middle of the dying season. So that shows the contrast between the laws of this world and the laws of the Creator Yahweh. Now, we use clarified butter specifically because clarified butter is a separation between the two components of butter. Well, actually, technically, the three components of butter. Um, but we utilize one for the purpose of the bread, and the other part, which is kept over, can be saved for other things. Now, we understand that when it comes to the fat, there's a purpose, right? Yahweh conceals within things hidden meanings and purposes and uses, right? And this is what we learn from the tree of knowledge, right? When you have all life and all knowledge is part of what the whole wheat was about, what we kind of see in Genesis chapter 2. The tree of life has all things integral to life in it, right? And so these matters are concealed and hidden, but they're available to burst forth and grow within our consciousness and our minds and our spirits to teach us all things that are necessary for life. And one thing we understand is that when we begin to differentiate purpose, that certain things have a purpose for this and certain things have a purpose for that. And we see that in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And this is part of why we clarify butter that is used in the unleavened bread. So those are the ingredients: whole wheat flour, water, salt, and clarified butter. Now, obviously, you want to roll these breads out flat because you're going to have a big chunk of bread that does not rise if you do it that way. And it will not be very palatable, very difficult for you to eat it, but you need to eat it every day for those 7 days, starting at the Feast of Unleavened Bread. For those of you who are not going to be dining with us in person in Orlando, Florida, go ahead, attempt to make the bread yourself. You are required, as per the ritual itself, to eat bread once a day for 7 days during this high holy day. Okay? Now, family, understand that we come into this high holy day and we leave behind everything that happened in the previous year, all of our motivating factors, the things that pushed and moved us, that swelled us up, all those things, we leave all that stuff behind and we start new. We start low, we start flat, we start humble, we start simple. 4 ingredients. We start simple once again. And I urge each and every one of you who's listening to do the same with your neighbor. And start back anew, start back with all trust and faith in the Creator Yahweh for the new year that is coming, and understand that it will very well be necessary with all that is prophesied to occur. All right, I thank you, family. That's it for this recap. Again, Passover, sundown April 1st. Feast of Unleavened Bread, sundown April 2nd for 7 nights. The Feast of Unleavened Bread. Passover is 1 night. Feast of Unleavened Bread is 7 nights. During the Feast of Unleavened Bread, no yeast. Don't go out buying food with yeast in it. Don't eat food with any yeast that you may have forgotten in your home. Get rid of it before the high holy day begins. Eat unleavened bread once a day for 7 days. Renew your minds, renew your spirit, leave the old man behind, and come into the year anew. Shalom, family. I thank you again. Shalom Aleichem and Aniyahah.